Before we get to today's video, we wanted to announce that Crime Zone's official Patreon page is now live. In addition to ad-free videos and other extras, patrons will also get access to weekly bonus videos for our Crimes of the Week and Crimes of the Week International series. So if you want even more Crime Zone content, head over to patreon.com/crimezone for exclusive cases not featured in today's video.
This week, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement announced that they had arrested 4 men that say they were part of a 6-man team responsible for hundreds of thefts targeting charitable donation checks inside church mailboxes. Authorities say that during their crime spree, the thieves took more than 1,500 of these donation checks from 636 different churches. They operated out of Orlando, but targeted churches across Florida and even out of state, sometimes hitting as many as 85 churches in a single day. After stealing the checks, the men would deposit the money into one of their numerous bank accounts opened up under false identities. The money would then be withdrawn from an ATM before the banks realized that it was fraud. In total, it is estimated that the men stole $740,000 worth of donations, using it to buy cars, clothes, and wiring a substantial amount of money back to their home country of Romania. The men have been identified as 33-year-old Ionut Raducan, 32-year-old Panay Dumitru, and 2 men both named Marius Dumitru, ages 28 and 34. Police say that they are still searching for 2 others involved in the crimes, 45-year-old Catalin Trandafer and 39-year-old Simona Trandafer. The suspects are facing numerous charges, including conspiracy to commit racketeering, grand theft, and money laundering.
This week, representatives from U.S. Customs and Border Protection announced that they had seized more than 2,400 pounds of methamphetamine at the Otay Mesa commercial border crossing in Southern California. The drugs were discovered at approximately 4:45 p.m. on May 21st, when a truck allegedly hauling plastic parts was flagged for intensive examination. The vehicle was subjected to imaging scans and was then searched by drug-sniffing dogs, at which point the drugs were found. The total amount of meth discovered weighed in at 2,421 pounds and had an estimated street value of roughly $5.5 million. The 25-year-old driver of the truck, who is a Mexican citizen, was turned over to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. According to Customs and Border Protection, this was the 3rd large meth seizure at the facility in less than a week. On May 15th, officers discovered almost 2,500 pounds of meth hidden in a shipment of medical supplies, and on May 18th, another 1,100 pounds of the drug was found concealed inside containers carrying watermelons.
Authorities in Miami-Dade County say that 2 people are dead and at least 25 others are wounded following a shooting outside a banquet hall near the city of Hialeah. The attack unfolded early Sunday morning at the El Mula Banquet Hall. The hall had been rented out for a concert, attracting a large gathering for performances and local rappers, as well as other activities such as billiards and dancing. At approximately 12:30 a.m., a white Nissan Pathfinder arrived at the scene. 3 men exited the vehicle and reportedly began to fire into the crowd with rifles and handguns before fleeing. The 2 deceased victims were pronounced dead at the scene, and many others were taken to hospital. At least 3 people are said to be in critical condition. At the time of this recording, the names of the victims have not been released, though there are unconfirmed reports from local media that one of the victims is a 26-year-old man named Clayton Dillard III. Police say that they are currently searching for the vehicle involved in the shootings, but have so far not released the names of any potential suspects. They're asking for help from the local community to provide any information that might aid in the investigation.
Delaware State Police say that they are investigating a violent incident at a residence in the town of Hartley this week, after several people were stabbed and 1 person was shot and killed. Police were called to the scene at approximately 4:30 a.m. on Wednesday and arrived to find 5 men ranging in age from 30 to 56 with injuries of varying severity. An initial investigation revealed that the men had been watching TV and playing video games until a member of their group, identified only as a 37-year-old from Ridgely, Maryland, became enraged and began to attack the other 4 men with a knife. At some point during the attack, one of the victims retrieved a shotgun and shot the 37-year-old in the leg. The man was rushed to the hospital, but later died from his injuries. The 4 victims of the knife attack, meanwhile, were also taken to the hospital, where 2 were treated for non-life-threatening injuries, while 2 remain in critical condition. Police say that their investigation is ongoing, but that no one has been charged in connection with the incident so far. It remains unclear what caused the 37-year-old attacker to become enraged, or if drugs were involved.
Authorities in Fairfax County, Virginia say that they have arrested 2 suspects this week for the murders of an Army colonel and his veteran wife. 55-year-old Edward McDaniel Jr. and 63-year-old Brenda McDaniel were found dead outside their Springfield home on Wednesday. Both had been shot and killed at close range. The McDaniels both served as colonels in the U.S. Army. Edward was still active duty and worked as an Army doctor. Brenda was retired and had formerly worked as a nurse. Police quickly announced that they were looking for a Nissan Altima that was believed to have been used by the suspects. After receiving a tip, they were able to locate the vehicle at approximately 7:30 a.m. on Thursday morning, just a few miles south of Springfield in Lorton. The driver of the car, 19-year-old D'Angelo Strand, was arrested at the same time the vehicle was found. Just a few hours later, authorities managed to track down the second suspect, 20-year-old Ronnie Marshall, after police reported an active murder arrest warrant was out for him. Police say that the incident is still under investigation, but that Marshall and Strand were co-workers of one of the victim's relatives. It is believed that the murders were related to a separate incident that took place 2 days prior, when authorities were called to the McDaniel home to conduct an investigation into an active burglary. Police say that at least one of the suspects was at the home at the time, and that there may have been a larger dispute between the suspects and the victims. Marshall and Strand have each been charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony.
This week, authorities in El Paso announced that a woman had been arrested after she was filmed brazenly climbing into the spider monkey enclosure at the El Paso Zoo and attempting to feed the animals hot Cheetos. The woman, who has since been identified as 26-year-old Luz Elizabeth Ray, reportedly got into the enclosure after making it past the fence, bushes, and moat that currently separate the monkeys in their exhibit from the zoo's guests. El Paso police announced that Ray had been arrested for criminal trespass on Thursday, a few days after the clip of her in the spider monkey enclosure went viral. Zoo officials said that they couldn't let the behavior go unpunished, pointing out that there were significant dangers involved in the stunt for both Ray and the animals. They also say that they may now have to increase the barrier sizes around the exhibit to prevent further trespassing attempts, something that will likely diminish the visibility of the exhibit for all guests. It was reported that Ray has also since been fired from the personal injury law firm where she worked. The company said in a statement that they did not condone her irresponsible and reckless behavior.
This week, authorities in Oklahoma announced that they had arrested a Georgia man almost 6 years after he faked his death to avoid facing charges related to the attempted murder of his ex-wife. According to reports, the initial crime took place in November of 2015, when Christopher Tomberlin, then a resident of Bibb County, Georgia, attacked his wife with a hatchet. He allegedly bit her hand during the assault and threw the weapon at her, which missed, and instead became lodged in a door in their home. Tomberlin was arrested, but was subsequently released while awaiting trial. During that time, he faked his death, and police appeared to be none the wiser. In the following years, Tomberlin managed to stay off the radar by using various aliases. He reportedly spent at least the last 2 years living in the Oklahoma City metro area, where he was eventually arrested on Thursday. Police showed up at Tomberlin's address following a tip they received indicating that he was still alive. He was working as a freelance tattoo artist and was apparently quite surprised when police arrived. Tomberlin is currently in custody in Oklahoma City, where he is awaiting extradition back to Georgia. Though authorities have not yet specified, it is presumed that he will stand trial for attempted murder after his arrival.
Authorities in San Jose, California, say that they are investigating a terrifying incident this week after a gunman killed 9 people and then himself at a Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority rail yard. The attack took place at approximately 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday, when 57-year-old Sam Cassidy, a Valley Transportation Authority employee, began to shoot and kill colleagues in 2 buildings at the rail yard. He was armed with multiple handguns, which are said to have been legally obtained and registered. Surveillance video revealed that Cassidy arrived at the facility roughly an hour before he carried out the attack, and appeared to have planned it to coincide with a shift change. Witnesses also said that Cassidy appeared to target his victims, shooting some while ignoring or walking past others. Authorities arrived within 2 minutes of receiving 911 calls and quickly confronted Cassidy on the 3rd floor of one of the buildings. No gunfire was exchanged between Cassidy and police, and it was at that point that he turned one of the weapons on himself. A search of Cassidy's locker at the crime scene revealed several precursor items for making explosives, among them detonation pulls used to trigger a bomb. At the same time that police responded to the scene of the shooting, emergency service workers also received a call about a fire at Cassidy's residence, approximately 8 miles away. Firefighters managed to extinguish the blaze after about an hour, after which the heavily damaged building was searched. This resulted in further disturbing discoveries, including 22,000 rounds of ammunition, a dozen guns, multiple cans of gasoline, and items that were believed to be Molotov cocktails. Investigators say that they are still working to establish a firm motive behind Wednesday's attack, but say that they have uncovered evidence that Cassidy was a highly disgruntled employee of the Valley Transit Authority. His ex-wife and a former girlfriend told various media outlets that Cassidy hated his job and had long ranted and complained about what he felt was unfair treatment there. It was also reported that in 2016, Cassidy had been searched by Customs and Border Protection officers while returning from a trip to the Philippines. During the search, officers allegedly found a memo book filled with notes expressing Cassidy's hatred towards the Valley Transit Authority. The 9 victims of the attack have been identified as 63-year-old Abdulvahab Alikmandan, 29-year-old Adrian Baleza, 49-year-old Alex Fritsch, 35-year-old Jose Hernandez III, 63-year-old Lars Lane, 42-year-old Paul Mejia, 49-year-old Timothy Romo, 40-year-old Michael Rudametkin, and 63-year-old Taptajip Singh. That's it for this edition of Crimes of the Week. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for watching.